Hi everybody, it's me, Willow, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have another fun video for all of you guys to enjoy. I will be reviewing the film The Plague. It's a new film that just kind of came out wide here in Canada, in the US I believe. I'm not too sure if it is wide in like international, like in the UK, in Europe and stuff like that, but I did have the chance to see it at the TIFF Lightbox over the weekend. I was working in Toronto, and then afterwards me and my coworker walked over to the Lightbox and we enjoyed our film. It was my first cinema experience for 2026, so I love that I got right into the cinema on only the third day of the year, so love that for me. This is a directorial debut from the director Charlie Polinger. Hopefully I pronounced his last name correctly. He did write and direct this film, and I would have to say I'm very impressed. I think this is a great film. I was a big fan of it. My friend didn't love it as much as I did, but I also like told her last minute, oh, do you want to come to this film with me? And she'd never heard of it, and I've been waiting all year for this film. I believe it came out at Sundance earlier in the year, and then it was at Cannes, so I have really been highly anticipating this film, and it got some nominations at the Critic Choice Awards for the young actors. It's also gotten some nominations at the Indie Spirit Awards, so it's definitely been on my radar for a couple months, and I'm very happy I was able to see it because I do think it's a very impressive first film from Charlie, and I do think the young actors in the film are top notch. The actors Everett, Kaio, Kenny, Elliot are all notable young performances in this film. Very blown away by some of them, specifically Everett and Kenny. I think some of their scenes together, like in the locker room, are very heartwarming but also shocking at the same time. You really get to see these boys kind of evolve over almost 2 hours of this film. It is under 2 hours, about an hour 45 minutes, but it really does kind of have you gripped throughout the entire film. It's very digging into your brain, trying to eat away at you and your confidence. And we're looking at these young boys at this water polo camp, and some of them were at, it's also very distinct that this is the second session of the camp. We notice that at the beginning, and we hear these dialogue from the boys who have been in the first session. There's obviously some sort of clique that has developed, and this rumor of the so-called plague surrounding the actor Kenny's character Eli, and basically he just does not fit in with the group. And the leader of the group, played by Kaio, named Jake, really does pick out Eli from the group, we're assuming in the first session, and starts this rumor about him, how he has the plague based on his acne, and then also some sort of a rash that he starts to develop on his body. And of course you're supposed to be in the pool when we're at the water polo camp, so he has to wear a shirt over top, and he has this cortisone cream, and it's very apparent that this rash is not the plague. It's not this contagious horrid disease that everybody has to stay away from, but it's more this society, this bullying, judgment thing that's being put on Eli and the other boys from mostly Jake's influence and some of the other older boys at the camp. And then it starts to affect Everett's character, who is the main character. His name is Ben, and he kind of joins the second session, and he kind of starts to get picked on because he has some sort of lisp, so that kind of makes him a target for the group that ends up kind of being lumped in with Eli. And it's very apparent that Ben does not want to fall into this ganging up on Eli, because he does see Eli as this innocent person. And over the course of the film, we kind of end up having Ben become the target for a lot of this bullying and mishap, and his relationship with Eli and with Jake and the other boys at this camp becomes so severe, and a lot of hateful actions are used against not only Eli but Ben, and it actually starts to get kind of like scary at certain points, if I'm being honest. Eli is already this social pariah amongst the group. He just doesn't fit in. It kind of seems like he might be on the spectrum. He just, you know, he doesn't look the same as the boys. He's not as athletic. They basically call him lazy and that he doesn't even try at the sport. And they just really pick on him, and because he has acne and then the rash, which I said, you know, it's obviously a medical condition, but as the film progresses, you kind of start to feel like the boys in this film and start to believe, is it a medical condition? Like, is it not contagious? Is it the plague? Like, you really start to get brainwashed with these boys in this social setting, and you are really being indoctrinated, and you start to get scared because you're worried, with Ben being so kind towards Eli, that he's also going to become a social pariah. And that's exactly what happens when Ben tries to help Eli and be kind and go against the group, go against the grain, try to act as the bigger person. The group ends up ganging up on Ben, and he becomes a social pariah as well. And because of that, then Ben, you know, he feels caught between a rock and a hard place, and you know, deep down he is jealous of Eli because Eli can be free and be real, and he's not scared of the judgment of the others. He just lives his life and he is whatever he wants. And that's what Ben wishes he can do, wishes he could be authentic with himself, but he feels so pressured by society and by these boys, he ends up becoming a bully, just like Jake and the other boys in the group as well, and turns on Eli, and that ends up being so detrimental. Near the end of the film, there's kind of this like recurring physical joke. I'm not gonna spoil it, but there's this one scene in the middle where you're like freaked out, and then it's revealed that, oh, it was all a prank, and then it comes back to the end, kind of like Chekhov's gun. And it's just such a wild visual, and like the buildup of that moment, it's between Eli and Ben is just harping in on Eli, and you realize that he's saying all of this because he wishes he could be like Eli, wishes that he could just, you know, be himself, not be so like feeling so judged by the world and by these boys, and just feeling like he has to live up to this unexpected standard, that he just, you know, does the most horrendous thing he possibly could. So I really do think this film is fantastic with these performances, with the writing, very strong, the directing, so fantastic. I really do think the cinematography is also very stunning as well. We have quite a few underwater scenes, which is very beautiful. We also have like the female swimmers for like their side of the camp come in, and they're like synchronized swimmers, and we get to see some of like the synchronized swimming kind of in some slow motion. There's also this one like wet dream sequence. Like, I know a 12-year-old boy at sleepaway camp, what else are they gonna do, right? But that wet dream is just shot so like artistically, and I really like the cinematography with that, and the synchronized swimmers in it, and how it's shot is very elegant, which is kind of funny because it's a wet dream. But I really did like that scene, and basically all of the underwater shots are very artistic, and I really like them. My coworker who I went with, she actually thought they were kind of basic, and like she had seen them before, so that's kind of like two differing views. Like, I was pretty impressed by it, and she was just kind of so. And same with the music. Like, I really liked the whole ambiance with this kind of like like, it's really like kind of like this moaning and owning, and my other coworker, not the same coworker I went to the movie with, but somebody else who had already seen the movie, she described it as like long legs, and she thought like the aesthetic and the sound and ambiance was very long legs, and I would have to agree. Kind of has that like psychological like isolations, really feeling like it's coming down on you, claustrophobia with this music as well, really builds the tension in a lot of these like locker room scenes. When we're walking along these long halls, we're really afraid somebody's going to come around the corner and catch you doing something that you shouldn't be doing and become this like social pariah. So really love this artistic work behind the film as well to kind of help elevate this like sinking and suffocating feeling that you have at this boys' water polo camp. Joel Edgerton is also a highlight in this film. I'm a big fan of him in Train Dreams. He's one of my favorite performances for 2025, so I was happy to see him in this film as well. I feel like he could have been utilized a little bit more, but I guess we were focused more on the young boy's perspective, and I feel like having the coach kind of be absent is very relatable. I feel like a lot of kids, like, I don't know, I feel like I was definitely a weird kid, and I wasn't necessarily like picked on like to this extent in the film, but I definitely was like judged and, you know, had people talk behind your back, and I had several, I don't know, I had like health issues. I also had different interests than a lot of people. I feel like I didn't really grow into my confidence until my 20s. So I was a very awkward kid growing up. So I really did relate to the emotions and the suffocation of this film, and how in a lot of instances where you feel like an authority figure should be there to help you, they're like nowhere in sight, and they in the end, a lot of the time make the situations worse by trying to address it and getting like the head person in trouble. And, you know, a lot of the time that never leads to anything good. That just has them and their like yes men group come and attack you. So I really like how Joel Edgerton kind of approached the role, and he was a very like laid back coach, like kind of not with it, maybe kind of like a stoner type coach. And he had like these flip-flops on that you see near the very beginning of the film, and just watch those flip-flops throughout the entire film, because that end scene and he's in his flip-flops, and I'm just like, bruh, you couldn't have picked any other better shoes. I know you're on the deck all the time at the pool, but you couldn't have had like Crocs in sports mode. He was in flip-flops. I just biohazard for sure in that last scene. But I really did love his little monologue he had in the diner scene with Ben. I thought their little heart-to-heart was very beautiful, and you know how he kind of admits that he also had a hard growing up, and he was bullied throughout middle school and in high school due to his weight, and he had a really horrible nickname, and it wasn't really until his 30s, 40s, until he became happy in his life. And he's kind of telling this to Ben, and Ben's like, I'm only 12 years old. What do you mean I don't have anything to look forward to until my mid-30s? So I very related to that too as well, because, you know, I'm going to be 25 in a couple weeks, and I really do feel like, oh my God, the early 20s going into my mid-20s has definitely been some of the most craziest and, I don't know, like worst times of my life, just so stressful. And I just know, Ben, you got a lot of stress coming your way. But I feel like the end kind of leaves you with a little bit of hope that maybe Ben will try to be a little bit more authentic, because I think he realized what type of person he was growing into after he treated Eli in such a horrendous way and caused Eli to kind of have a breaking moment. And I think he really did realize the damage that Jake was doing to him and Eli, and then what damage he did to Eli because of this situation. So I really do love the end. It mirrors a moment in the middle portion of the film, which I also was very moved by. It brought me to tears, the end of the film. Again, as a weird kid, like, this just really touched a piece of my soul. You know, you just never feel like you fit in. And like, I'm gonna get emotional thinking about it right now, but yeah, it's really hard growing up sometimes when you don't fit into the status quo and you just want to be authentic and make friends, and you know, you feel like you are a very genuine, kind person and you just want to spread that love and authenticity to everybody, but because of how society is built, you just reject it. So yeah, The Plague really did move me. I definitely think I would watch it again. It is like a hard watch because of that kind of like psychological mind fuck and just like the stress. Like, I was on the edge of my seat being like, oh my god, I can't with these boys. They just deserve love and happiness. And I feel like the film, you know, I don't know if it's necessarily like a happy ending, but like I said, definitely leaves you with a bit of hope. So yeah, let me know if you guys have had the chance to see The Plague. I would love to hear what you guys think of Connor's directorial debut. I was definitely a big fan of it, and I loved the performances from all these young actors as well as Joel Edgerton as well. Really do think this is a standout from the end of 2025 rolling into 2026. A great festival film, and I'm so happy I was able to see it. Make sure you guys click the subscribe button and post notification button so you don't miss out on any other film reviews and other videos I post on my channel. It's going to be very active in the next couple of weeks because we are in the midst of award season and we have SAG noms, PGA, DGA, Golden Globes. We just did Critics' Choice, so go check out my channel for that video of me breaking down all the winners. While you're at it, make sure you hit the like button and comment down below what you guys thought of The Plague, what you guys think of my review. I'd love to have a discussion with you guys down below. I always try to comment back to you guys, and I'm just really appreciative of all your guys' engagement, as it really helps to grow my channel and helps me meet other like-minded people out there. So thank you so much for helping to grow my cinema community. While you're at it, I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Letterboxd. I'm also on the Awards Expert app, so go check me out on all those social media platforms and give me some love. Thank you guys so much for watching my video, and I'll see you in my next one. Remember, keep getting lost in film. Bye.